Welcome to Glow Up or Get Out. So today's episode is going to be about staying afloat in the midst of COVID, particularly businesses, not us as people necessarily.
We've already kind of got over that.
Yeah, we kind of went over that in a few different episodes.
Yeah, so I think in general, we can all see and have seen that businesses have been super affected throughout the pandemic. And, you know, this is either by businesses closing their doors or having like a bunch of like internal cuts on like finances and like letting people go, just all kinds of stuff that we like can see and how it affects, you know, us as people as well. But maybe this episode could help those who are looking for the help, give you some ideas or some strategy on how to move forward and keep yourself afloat.
Hopefully inspire you.
Yeah.
Because it's not as bad as it seems, believe it or not.
Believe it or not. With that said, there's actually like a crazy statistic that I came across that more businesses have opened up in the pandemic than those that have closed down. I think the ratio is somewhere about 40 to 34, which granted that is like still a lot of businesses that have closed, but you know, it's 6 more that are opening than that are closing. So I think people are starting to gain traction on how to kind of adjust and move forward, and hopefully in this new presidency, we might get a little bit more extra help for those small businesses and helping aid people who, you know, are there for the economy in general.
Yeah, if you're here, you clearly don't want to just stay the same and be like, oh, I'm just going to fire people and hope for the best. Like, you're looking into different options, which we're going to get into.
Right.
So I guess we're going to get straight into it and talk about, first, what you can use from our government to aid yourself. The biggest thing that we researched was the PPP loan, which Mel is going to take the lead on that because she found all the good information on it.
So if you want more clear and defined information, I'm going to give like a brief overview of like what the PPP is and like how you can use it, how you can apply, and whether it even applies to you as a business.
Yeah.
But if you want more information, the website is sba.org, small business.
.gov.
What did I say?
Look at it. .org. I think, right?
SBA.gov. That is the website.
That is the
Jesus.
website.
Okay. But on there, you can see the other types of aid that you can receive. But I think the big ticket item lately has been the PPP loan. So yeah, let's get into it. So what is the PPP? The Paycheck Protection Program basically is a loan that you can use to pay out either yourself as a business or your employees. And then also there's other things that you can use it for that include things like your rent or like business expenses like utilities. So the first question that a lot of people have been asking is, do you need an LLC to get the PPP loan? And the answer, quick short answer would be no. The government opened it up. So there was like a first round of this PPP loan, and that one was a lot more stricter. But I think this round, they have opened it up to freelancers, sole proprietorships, independent contractors. So if you fall into that category, you probably are able to apply for the PPP loan. But the best way to look at it is to look at your Schedule C. So if you, on your tax form, if you have a Schedule C, or you're getting paid via a 1099, you can have access to this program and apply. But we will go over some other things that may not apply to you in that case, because we've also figured out that we probably can't apply, but
even though we are in that
right, yeah. So then second question is, how do I figure out my payroll? Because it's basically a loan to pay your payroll. The way to do this is to look again at your Schedule C and look at the net earnings. And I think I saw that it was line 31. And the way that to figure out how much is dividing it by 12, so like the months of the year, and then multiplying it by 2.5. Not sure why the 2.5. I guess you can look into that more, but I know that those are the numbers to look at your payroll and how to figure that out. So that's more like for like freelancers and for people who work.
Like your expenses aren't necessarily paying people.
Yeah, so those are like for independent contractors. For businesses, you can take the average of what you're spending on payroll for your employees and then multiply that by 2.5. So, and also a thing about the PPP loan, you can only pay your salary employees. That does not include independent contractors, which was the next question that I was going to go into. For example, if you have a business and you're paying someone kind of like us to do your marketing or your photography or whatever, you can't pay them like through the PPP, but you can encourage them to apply for a PPP. Does that make sense? And then also the government is only subsidizing salaries under 100K. So if you made more than that, then they're only doing it up to 100K.
And like, this is a loan, I don't know if you're gonna talk about it later, but this is a loan that you eventually pay back, correct?
Yeah, so we'll get into that. That's actually the PPP loan. You can apply for a forgiveness program also within it, but it also depends on like if you're using this loan correctly. But okay, so yeah, so then
We'll get into that.
somebody asked, what happens if I haven't filed for taxes in 2019? You can still use your 2018 tax return, but let's say you are making more money in 2019 than in 2018, you'd probably want to use that like earnings versus your 2018 because that's what you're going to be getting. Like they're not going to look for you into your 2019 and do that math, like, you know? So try to get them in either.
So file, basically.
Yeah, file beforehand if that's your case. But if you're, you know, it doesn't really matter, it's about the same thing for you, then go ahead and use your 2018. It's no problem.
I mean, if you didn't file your taxes for 2019, you probably still have to, don't you?
Yeah, you still have to, but
I mean,
if you're in a pickle for some reason, you know, go ahead and use it 2018. But
not us in 2020. It's gonna be like, oops.
Oopsies. Another question is, do you have to prove that you aren't making money right now? The answer to that is no, but if your business is booming or like you're doing well, probably don't apply for this loan because it's a loan, and if you're not using it correctly, you will have to pay it back, and you don't want that.
So, and you also don't want to take from other people who need it.
Exactly. And with that said, audits may be taken into account later. So like everything's kind of up in the air about the PPP loan. It's not like super definite on like what's going to happen in the future, which is kind of scary. But just be cautious of like how you're applying and what you're doing with your money, because later on you don't want it to bite you in the ass, you know? Yeah. The next question, which is probably what you're asking, is how do I apply? So the PPP and the government is working with banks on the PPP. So you would probably just go to your bank that you're working with right now and ask them to apply. This can usually be done through a portal, like through your bank. But if not, then probably just try to schedule an appointment. I don't really know how banks are doing like in-person appointments right now.
Some, but
so yeah, online's probably your best bet. But if you do have a relationship with like your banker or whatever, go ahead and do that. I also found out that banks, since there's like no real defining factor on like how to receive this loan or how to apply for it or like whatever, they're kind of leaving everything to the banks right now. So the banks could have their own restrictions or rules to how you can apply, or if you
qualify.
If you qualify, that's the word.
So banks get to decide.
Right. And one of those things might be like if you're a business but you're using more of a personal account for your business, they might not allow you to apply for the PPP.
Right.
So in that case, you would just ask like, hey, can I open up a bank account?
And then that just really works out for the banks.
Period. So whatever. But
so whatever, forget the system.
But if you want to go around that, I think there's other things that you can look into and like, you know, shop around different banks. And I mean, yeah, you might have to open up like an account, but you might have better luck with one bank than the other. And that might be better for you. So just, you know, take a look around. And if you're going to be applying, just know that.
Give me the money.
Yeah. So how long does the money take to get to you? This, again, not known. It is really unclear. According to the first round, a lot of people didn't even receive the money. It never even it's just such a weird time. Like it's not, I mean, nothing's definite, but it doesn't hurt to apply, you know? But it says that most people get it within 3 days, but that's not happening to anybody, which is
the
weird.
website says, but
So I think in general, I would say like a couple weeks. Everyone's kind of backtracked with how things are working because everyone needs help.
Yeah.
But a couple weeks after your acceptance. So if you didn't get an acceptance email or confirmation of sorts, like maybe not a couple weeks, so just keep waiting. But yeah, you can only apply for the loan obviously once. So just keep it at that, and wait for it. So the big question is, do I need to pay for this loan back? And so if you're using the money for its intended use, like payroll, which you should be using 75% of the loan for that alone, or rent, or like utilities or whatever,
Business-specific.
Yeah, business-specific expenses, you should be okay, and it should all be forgiven. But you do need to apply for the forgiveness program, which that comes after you receive the money, obviously. Mm-hmm. And that information is also on SBA.gov if you want to take a look at that. But it's also a little bit unclear whether or not you need to be paying taxes for paying yourself, so for the payroll part. So technically you are getting taxed, but you're not getting taxed for the entire loan.
Just what you pay yourself.
Just what you pay yourself, which you probably will be taxed, but I don't know for sure. And then the next question after that is, can I do unemployment and PPP? And the answer to that is no. It seems like you have to pick one or the other. So my best advice to you would be to pretty much like figure out which one gives you more money, or which one like just works best for you as a business or as a person.
Yeah.
And go forward with that. But it's really unclear, and I wouldn't try to do it because you could get in a lot of trouble, whether that mean being a huge fine on you or
jail time.
And that's real scary.
Trying to go to jail for that.
Yeah. Like, I think for us, it was just a safer bet to individually get unemployment.
Yeah.
For number one, we're brand new into this business, so like we don't really have a lot to file for taxes. And it wouldn't even be enough to pay for our own costs as people, separate people. So I think unemployment would be the best bet for us, and that's what we are doing. But it was good to understand and know whether or not if we were able to apply for this, because this would have been cool. But if it applies to you, I definitely would recommend you looking more into it and seeing if this is a good option for you.
Anyways, PPP loan.
That's basically the gist. I got a lot of this information from the SBA.gov website, and then also a few podcasts that we'll probably link, and also just TikTok. TikTok is really informative.
Just get on that business side of TikTok, and you'll find out.
You'll find out some good stuff. But do your research and, stay safe with that information.
Yeah, and keep looking. There might be a different loan or grants.
More aid. Or grants. That's a good point.
So, yeah. So, our next topic, which is less on, like, the government side, but more of, like, what you can do as a business owner. Some different strategies. So, the first one would be staying up to date on how your industry is being affected. So that could be like your county's restrictions, or your country, your state, like, I don't know, wherever you are. Yeah. Think about the vaccine and how that might affect your business. And obviously, like, curfews. If you're a bar, you probably are staying open until 3 a.m. on normal nights. But if there's a curfew, think about how you can rework that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously staying up to date. Like, salons in LA County can open now. Like, actually open. Yeah. Starting Friday.
The second one would be being socially aware and just having social awareness on your business. We all are doing our best out here, but being that proactive business when it comes to like wearing masks, or even just like COVID, again, going back to like the whole thing about staying up to date with how COVID is affecting, everyone. Keeping that in mind, and also just like political climate, just all of that, keeping yourself socially aware. Not necessarily am I going to tell you to take a political stance or take a stance on anything, but
like understand what your consumers need or are following, I guess, like topics. You don't even have to necessarily speak on a certain position or whatever.
Yeah.
But just bringing light to like, so let's go back to voting season. Just bringing light to that it is time to vote.
Right.
Like, something as simple as that. Whatever. But that doesn't have to do with COVID. So, but
just those are examples of being socially aware.
Yeah. Next would be putting more into your socials. So like your online presence, which I feel like has been pretty it's like an obvious one that everyone should be doing. And there's just more time for it, I guess, now, because if you're not having customers come in and having to deal with like running your actual establishment or whatever the case is, you have more time to come up with cool content, things that'll be thought-provoking for your customers. And
also you have to keep in mind that like, because everyone's at home, their best way to research a place is probably through their social media or things like Yelp or Google reviews. Like, I think most people, at least in our age group, just go straight to social media and see how everyone, appeals to this certain brand or restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
So just keeping aware of that and putting yourself in a place where your social media presence is there and it's showcasing everything that you have to offer during this time.
Yeah, it represents your brand.
Right. Our next one would be building authenticity and trust. So this is overall just like having a relationship with your consumers and reassuring your customers that you're there for them. You are able to adjust your pricing or adjust the way that you do things to meet their needs or, to keep them coming back even though there's a pandemic going on.
So like an example of something you could offer, like Mel had seen some sort of article where it said like maybe it's not the best idea to just discount everything.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, okay, so now you're discounting everything. Like, now I'm questioning your value if you're just going to discount everything.
It's more like, are you taking advantage of me or advantage of the time?
Right. So instead of doing something like that, but still catering to people who obviously want a discount and want to spend less, is offering payment plans. And that can be in a few different ways. Like a gift card could be a form of a payment plan since somebody else purchased it for the other person. But we were thinking mostly through online and e-commerce using Affirm. I think there's like another one similar to Affirm. But we looked into Affirm, and that's basically you can make like monthly payments when someone purchases off your site. So what that means for you is that you do get the full amount, like when they purchase. When they purchase something, but there is a merchant discount rate, which they calculate themselves based on like how risky your consumers are, the industry you're in, things like that, and they take that from the order value. But they also claim that 85% increase in an order on your website. So you're kind of like hedging by doing that, because like obviously if you're thinking as a consumer, oh, I want to get like 2 dresses, oh, but it's a monthly payment plan, maybe I'll get 3, like since it's going to be spread out,
right?
Or 4. So people are spending more on your site and you're losing a little bit of money, but you're offering them like a pretty awesome
and you're offering them like consistency with you.
Yeah.
I think another statistic that you read from that same thing was that there was like a 20% or something like that. There was a 20%
in like customer returns. Yeah, customers came back because of it. Yeah.
Which, that's what you want.
That's exactly what you want.
I think other things that could also go with like providing more for your customers is things like doing bundles and specials. Not necessarily like discounts, but like maybe like putting things together for your consumers so that it's more exciting to purchase this
bundle.
This bundle or this like very well-rounded set of products, that you can also like get rid of more inventory quickly, and keep it stimulated.
Keeping your turnaround rates.
So the last one would be providing resources for your consumers. And by that, we mean doing things that, like giving them information, whether that be about, again, like social climate or just about your own products and like updates on your business. Ways to do that is by sending emails, so starting like an email list, posting on your social media, again, a lot more, including your stories and all that, being very active on your online presence. And then also, if you are a business who allows your consumers to have accounts, maybe putting messages on their dashboard. You can have a sweet message for them about an update or, give them a little cute code. I don't know.
Something positive.
Something positive so that you know, it stimulates their relationship with you, and like you stay on their mind.
Right.
And on their good side.
Yes.
We're going to get into more like nitty gritty, like how to up your game.
How exactly you're gonna
focus on those things.
Yes.
But I think those are our strategies and how to maybe start getting yourself into the more creative mindset about how to move forward.
Stay tuned for Glowing Hour to hear all of our specifics. We're back. We're back, and we're going to talk about those exciting ideas. So I think you should start off with the idea that you actually heard someone put into practice that you liked before we get into all like the small ones.
Cool. One of the examples that I came across recently was I ordered this vegan sushi from, I think they're called Plant Bar. I can't remember right now.
You'll link it later.
I'll link it later. But this woman decided that since her usual business is catering and then also doing pop-ups at like vegan vendor,
like farmer
markets or like things like that. And her idea was to now do platters that are already made that you can buy for like maybe like a family dinner or whatever. And then she also does DIY kits where she gives you all of the, I don't know if she gives you the ingredients necessarily, but probably to build your own sushi. And it's kind of like a cool thing you can take home and an activity and experience that now like, you know, maybe that's like something she can continue forward even after the pandemic. That's kind of fun, like having a place where you can just get all the ingredients all at once and then come home and make it. It's really fun.
Especially like vegan sushi. It's like I wouldn't even know where to begin getting everything I'd need for that. And just to do it like quick date night or whatever, you know, it's like one and done. People love that.
Do you think that's a great idea? It's kind of like a similar vibe to like having like ready to bake pizzas, like pre-made pizzas, like that aren't necessarily like frozen, but like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's really cool.
So that goes along with one of the biggest subsections of cool things to do as a business, which would be creating experiences. So I feel like creating experiences for the past like, I don't know, 5 years or something have been all about like pop-ups, doing events, like trade shows.
Yeah.
Things like that where it's like I can take a picture for Instagram. Like it was all about basically photo ops.
Yeah.
And now I think an experience is more so like what the consumer takes home with them, like what they feel, like the feelings that they take from whatever the experience was. So like for your example, it was like I made sushi and I made it by myself. Instead of just buying it. Like, that gets boring after so many months in quarantine. Another one would be, like, virtual events. So, I know we were going to go to, like, a Girl Boss, like, event right before the pandemic hit. And then they just moved it over to a virtual platform.
Yeah.
Which, like, that makes the most sense for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
And just, it's an easier, quick fix. There's also, like, more costs that go into that.
Yeah.
If you've already planned it for in person, like, that sucks. But things like that. Like, I did a virtual painting class, and it was really cool. Like, this guy just did, like, a Facebook live, I guess. Mm-hmm. He does it every week. And there's, like, maybe, like, 4 different, like, characters or something you could pick from in a month. And he records them so he could just, like, post them, and then you can watch them as you go. But it's kind of cool to do it live because he, like, is interactive with you. Like,
that's fun, yeah.
Like, cool, it's your birthday. Like, happy birthday, Jessica, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a cool way to, like, hang out with family or, like, your small circle of friends and not feel like, oh, we're just, like, watching another movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's something to do, and, like, you all compare your paintings at the end, and it's just...
It's a fun time.
It's fun. And he obviously, you know, it was free, so he would just get, like, Venmo payment. So, like... If your business is something to do with creativity, painting, or you are a painter or something,
that might be a fun idea.
Yeah, like think of doing something virtual once a month and you record it and boom.
I also just saw this girl who's like a food blogger. Mm-hmm. She does a lot. I mean, I'm vegan, so like that's all I basically follow. But she does like vegan, authentic like Mexican food or like just like also just like other cuisines, but like things that you would think are hard as a vegan, and She just started a cooking class for $27, and she teaches you how to make, like, for this one specifically, she teaches you how to make arroz con leche, just like Spanish rice or Mexican rice, whatever you want to call it, and enchiladas, which I'm like, that's fun. Like, that's a really fun.
That is fun.
You got dinner for that day. Period.
Is it like the $27 is those 3 things and it's just like videos or something?
Yeah.
Oh, so you could do it like whenever you wanted.
Yeah.
It is like a whole meal though, so you could do it in one day.
You can do it in one day. But I thought that was really cool. I think there's like other things that could also be incorporated into that kind of space is like if you're an esthetician kind of doing like similar classes to teach about certain products, or
even like IG lives, like it doesn't have to be all crazy, like something super hard.
Totally. I think experiences right now are really good. Try to find or fit a way in which your product can become an experience for somebody, or think about the way that you use it as an experience, and then try to make it into a virtual sensation. Like, I don't know, virtual sensation.
Even if your product isn't a product, but it's a service.
Right.
Like for us, you could say that the podcast is one way to
virtually do that.
Yeah, virtually bring in people. We could do lives. We could do like all sorts of things.
Right.
So don't like limit yourself just because you're a service-based company, brand.
Well, it makes me think of like massages. You could teach people how to like do like quick 5 moves or something, you know? Next one is social currency.
So I'm reading the book Contagious, which it's a really popular marketing book, and I can see why, because I'm only like 36 pages in and I'm like tell me more. But the first chapter, or like the second, like the first real chapter is about social currency. And social currency is basically like, it's a little scary to think about. It's like Black Mirror vibes, but it's basically like, I have a certain social currency and everyone around me has a certain one. And the more I can bring, like the more social currency I have. And that means like, because
like influence.
Yes, because I knew about the newest movie coming out or whatever. Like that's something interesting that people want to know. So I have like a higher social currency because like I'm in the know, basically. That's pretty much what social currency is. So, like, as a brand, you want to think about social currency. Like, I want people to find my product or service as a value in social currency to them. So, like we said, the virtual cooking class, that's something where someone could share and be like, hey, I know about this.
Yeah.
Virtual cooking class, like, and you guys would love it, blah, blah, blah. Again, they're sharing this all word of mouth from people that they trust. Like, it's no longer social media influencers sharing it, which also is great, but word of mouth from people you trust in your life is obviously going to take like businesses a lot further, because it's just basically the root of all society. Like word of mouth is always how things have traveled.
Yeah, I feel like no matter where we are in technology, word of mouth is always going to be more powerful than anything else. And it kind of does like lead into social media, but it's not like influencers and like celebrities telling you things.
Right.
It's more of like from person to person.
Yeah.
If you have a friend or somebody that you know on social media who like has similar interests and they post something about a certain brand or whatever, you're going to go and look at it because you guys have similar interests.
Yeah.
And now like
you know them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just think of different ways that people will want to find your product valuable and spread that via word of mouth.
Next kind of strategy and tip we have is social challenges. That sounds like a weird title for it, but basically like challenges on socials and also just in life. I think like kind of how everyone was doing like currently the Bust It challenge. You know, that might be a fun way to do something.
Like if you're a fashion brand, period.
Yeah. Or you can do like, I don't know, just there's different challenges that can make a lot of sense for your brand and to kind of like make it trendy, but also like be funny and have some comedic relief to your so serious brand or whatever.
Exactly.
But taking a look at like what's currently poppin' and putting yourself in it.
And TikTok is probably the best platform to be on. So if you can,
the platform I think right now.
Yeah, I mean the algorithm is just like Instagram messed up their algorithm. Nope, I don't think anybody's happy with the algorithm.
No.
Yeah, get on TikTok. We need to listen to ourselves.
It's just a lot of effort, and I think we're not there yet right now. But
we understand why
maybe you haven't done it.
Yes, we do.
But I promise you that there's like so much value in TikTok right now. And then the last two kind of like go together, but like amping up your online presence, which also goes with social challenges, and focusing on social media, which kind of just overall comes in and into this space. So for improving your online presence, you can optimize your business website for mobile, which like a lot of people don't have computers these days. They kind of use a phone as a computer. Yeah. The normal person anyway. And also just like let this be a reminder to update your website in general. Like there might be things that you're offering differently now.
Things are changing.
You're probably no longer like, you know, business hours or so and so. Like change that up.
Right.
Create valuable content. We've said that. Do some SEO research. And this is just like getting your business higher ranking in the
like Google
search engines. And with that, it's like incorporating keywords into your website so that you're found a lot more quickly. Engaging in online communities and forums, so like Reddit or I don't know, Quora is one of them. LinkedIn.
Girl Boss, things like that.
Yeah. And then there's also improving your user experience, which this goes back to updating your website and making sure that your consumers can easily come and go into your website and don't have a problem purchasing your products or services. It's just kind of like a free-flowing thing. And also kind of make sure to grab their attention as they're doing it as well. Like have a good flow for it.
Yeah.
And then why do you have to do that? Whatever. Picking things up for social media. So like, again, start enjoying conversations. This is like finding people who are in like-minded spaces or like-minded pages. Like for us, example, we can be looking at other podcasters who are women entrepreneurs and having conversations with them and joining the conversations that they are having in the comments, or even following their followers and having conversations with them. Just using, you know, social media as actually a social platform and like having conversations.
Yeah.
Utilizing sponsored posts or paid advertisements. These are pretty much like always going, so nothing really different there, but just, you know, if that's something that you need right now, go ahead and do that. Posting more frequently, which we gotta do.
We're slacking big time, but it's because we're rebranding still.
Yeah.
So it's just like
and I think posting more frequently goes beyond just like empty posts or whatever, but I think it's because everyone's on their phone currently. There's just so much information that keeps like being piled into the social platforms that you want to stay current. So like that you're at the top of the page again. So just kind of like competing for the top spot in people's like feeds.
Yeah.
Make sure you're posting frequently and being in their minds consistently.
Not annoyingly.
Yeah, don't do it annoyingly.
Fine
Be
line.
authentic. You'll find your way. Next is having an online contest, or I guess like a giveaway. Just a chance for people to share your page or your product or whatever it is that you're trying to offer.
Right.
That will boost you. And then I think we talked about the last two in the first part, but it's just keeping your consumers or customers in the loop with store updates. And then promoting special or limited time offerings, which, like we said, like bundling or afterpay, or even if you're just having a sale, all that stuff is really important to keep up to date on your socials.
Yeah.
Or else how are people going to know, you know?
Hopefully these give you some solid advice and help you keep your company afloat. And if you have any like specific questions, we're always here. Hit us in the DMs, the comment section, wherever.
But yeah, that is it for today, I think.
Yes. We have one more episode left in the season.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in next week's episode.